So apparently, Mr. Odaly, that would be very happy to explain everything this to you, had a problem with his voice, and they said, well, why not send the developer again? Because apparently putting the developer to do the sales is a very good idea. But the thing is, you already know I'm a developer, but most of you probably paid attention that besides that, I'm also Brazilian. And when the first time that I heard about this project, I simply fell in love. Like, for real, is I've been developing in blockchain for some time already, and I saw several projects. I saw especially several NFTs and tokens that they're just empty value. There's nothing behind. It's not a real project. You know, that there's no meaning behind. And on the other hand, I grew up in Brazil with all this beautiful nature, and unfortunately, I saw like how the environment there was being harmed just because of human ambition and not being totally responsible with the consequences that would bring. And now I just had my mind blown because for some reason it looks like everything's connected, even things that I heard for the first time today here. For some minutes ago, we had a very, very interesting and motivating speech from Mr. Thomas, right? And he was talking about these people calling you on the phone and trying to sell stuff on the phone, and how bad they are. And you know why people are like exploring the environment and damaging the forest? Because of course, this is good for their pockets. And usually, the economic power can speak louder than the environmental protection. Because on one hand, you have this very, very experienced businessman pushing this stuff forward, pushing this project, you know, putting the forest down to put land, and of course, they are better trained for that, they can sell more, so they get more support. And meanwhile, the people from environment protection, they're probably worse than these people in the phone calling you every day. So it's not a fair fight, right? So I want to convince you that you should invest in the environment protection. But the thing is, why would you take money from your pocket for something that apparently won't give you any sort of return? It doesn't make sense. Until now. So, the first time I saw the Tupan project, and after all this experience in my life and seeing that environment, this beautiful nature in Brazil, never had stand a chance with this big capital, I saw here an opportunity to fight back. Because we're changing the game. At first, we would see the environmental question as a matter of costs for the business. Come on, most of you here are very experienced businessmen and women. You know, you have your own business, so you know what I'm talking about. You don't have costs to something that won't give you any return. But what if it could give you some return? What if protecting the environment could actually be good for your pockets? And this is such an innovative initiative, and I wasn't expecting that such an initiative would come from crypto world, from the blockchain technology. So this is one of the amazing things that blockchain technology can bring to us. And this is what Zenik is about. You know, because as I told you before, I was developing Ethereum, I was developing Binance, but all the projects that I had as a reference, the projects I saw, they didn't have anything behind. It was just someone just trying to create an NFT out of nowhere and trying to get some money of this, but nothing special, not real projects, no passion behind. But then, with Tupan, you actually can bring people together, you know, make them grow. At the same time, you're using this to protect the environment. And when I saw this, oh my God, this sounds so amazing. But the thing is, Zenik has as a main objective to be accessible for everyone, every single person. You know, that's why we designed this hardware here. Remember, I showed you how the node is, how it's so complicated to bring people that are like non-technical fields coming to this and operate. So Zenik, in the hardware part, is doing this pretty well, making it simple. But of course, the other products that are coming into Zenik's ecosystem, they cannot be inconsistent with that. So what does it matter if I just have like the best hardware, the most intuitive that everyone can use, but you have no idea what's going on? Because of course, I would say I have a Tupan, and it's a product, it's minting, and I could tell you all about the cryptographic and mathematical gibberish. I can say you have a hashing function and then you use a nonce, and as you increase the randomization, that's why your network is more secure. It won't make any sense of you. You won't see, okay, but what's the reason behind? What does it bring to me? So the idea was, since you're like interactive nature, and maybe try to bring people a bit closer to understand the cause, bring this, internalize this into our community. What if we could just take all this mathematical and cryptographical language and you translate this in something that's not only connected to nature, but is familiar to every single one of you. So, instead of telling you that in order to turn my minting process more secure, I will use different nodes to interact with them to increase the entropy of the network. I can just say you that, your hub, it now has a pollen. Because you don't know what a nonce is, it's a cryptographic stuff, but you know that the bees in the spring, they're flying around, they're carrying pollen from one place to the other, and when this pollen gets together, it's carrying the genetic material that will give birth to a seed. So, forget about cryptography, forget about mathematics. Let's talk about plants, let's talk about nature. So the first topic of this minting process is the pollination step, which means that you take it to hubs. Your hub, in the smart contract that now every single one of you is familiar with, you know what I'm talking about. This smart contract, it has special parameters, unique parameters, just like your DNA, just like plants' DNA. And when they connect for the first time to start this minting process, this DNA gets mixed in order to turn into a seed. But of course, we don't want to be limited to only 2 hubs, because talking about this cryptographic stuff, this mathematical stuff, increase the randomization.